A lot is known about the Conjurings, Ed and Lorraine Warren, but did you know their background is deeply intertwined with the supernatural world? The two are a real-life exorcist couple, and there's a lot of interesting stuff that you probably don't know yet. Keep watching this video to find out the truth about the Conjurings, Ed and Lorraine Warren. How long did the Perron family live in the Rhode Island farmhouse? The farmhouse served as the home to the genuine Perron family for almost 10 years. The house was bought by Roger Perron and his wife Carolyn in the winter of 1970, and is situated in the sleepy rural community of Harrisville, Rhode Island. They had plenty of room to raise their 5 kids, Andrea, Nancy, Christine, Cynthia, and April, on a 200-acre farm. In the month of June 1980, they left. Did Lorraine Warren and the real Perron family support the making of the movie? Yes. Our investigation into the real-life events that inspired the film The Conjuring reveals that paranormal researcher Lorraine Warren advised the filmmakers and director Jame Wan. She even went to the EUE Screen Gem studio set in Wilmington, North Carolina. She and her late husband Ed Warren's case files where recordings pertaining to the Perron family's haunting from the 1970s served as the primary inspiration for the movie. After coming together to support Andrea Perron's 2011 self-published book about their experience, House of Darkness, House of Light, the whole Perron family enthusiastically supported the movie, available in the right column. The Perron family, friends of producer Tony DeRosa Grund, visited the Wilmington, North Carolina set, just like Lorraine. As would be expected, Andrea has been the most outspoken member of the group, while Christine has been the one who has been the most reticent to discuss her time spent in the house. Who was the real Bathsheba Sherman? The ghost of alleged witch Bathsheba Sherman is the most eerie one in the film. Bathsheba Thayer, who was born in Rhode Island in 1812, wed fellow Rhode Islander Judson Sherman, who was 1 year older, on March 10, 1844, in Thompson, Connecticut. Local justice of the peace Vernon Stiles officiated the couple's marriage. While Judson worked as a farmer on their property, Bathsheba took care of the home. Bathsheba and Judson were reasonably well off. Their son Herbert L. Sherman was born in March 1849, when Bathsheba was about 37 years old. Although no census records could be located to support these rumors, it's conceivable that they also had 3 further children, all of whom died before turning 7. Additionally, the family frequently had a boarder, most likely to assist them on the farm. Are there any photographs of Bathsheba Sherman? It's an image of the Perron family homestead at the Arnold estate around the year 1885. The real Bathsheba, who lived next door on Sherman Farm, would have been in her early 70s at the time, if not already deceased. Bathsheba is visible in the center image. The woman who appears to be wearing a surgical mask, which obviously heightens the creepiness of the footage, but also makes it practically impossible for anyone to determine who she really is. If you're curious as to why the woman could be using a surgical mask, it's most likely to guard against bacteria coming from the influenza virus or one of the other widespread diseases of the time, such as diphtheria or tuberculosis. Was Bathsheba Sherman really a witch? There's just local lore and legend to suggest that Bathsheba Sherman was indeed a witch. Suspicion increased when a newborn inexplicably died in her care. She had previously resided on a nearby farm in the 1800s. When the infant was checked, it was discovered that a big sewing needle had impaled the child's skull at the base, resulting in a fatal wound. Despite the fact that the town's residents thought Bathsheba had offered the child as a sacrifice for the devil, a court determined that there was insufficient proof to convict her. Even though her name had been officially cleared, the public was unconvinced. Andrea Perron writes in her book, House of Darkness, House of Light, that her mother Carolyn had a conversation with a man named Mr. McEachern, who was allegedly a bit of a local historian, and who informed Carolyn that Bathsheba mistreated the help, starved them, and beat their Sherman Farm employees. How did Bathsheba pass away? The suspected witch Bathsheba Sherman passed away as an old woman on May 25, 1885, around 4 years after the passing of her husband Judson Sherman in 1881. According to the research we did for The Conjuring True Story, Bathsheba lived to witness the 1881 wedding of her son Herbert and his fiancée Anna, who was a farmer like his father. Online publications would lead you to believe that Bathsheba died from a weird sort of paralysis that perplexed and alarmed doctors, or that her body actually turned to stone as she passed away. These same publications frequently claim that Bathsheba had 4 children, all of whom passed away before they became 4 years old. Their foundations are never anything more than tradition and local folklore, or internet rumors. Census data from the U.S. government, however, contradicts this, since Bathsheba had a son named Herbert L. Sherman, who was a long-lived farmer and father of his own. Her 3 additional children's names are listed as Julia, born 1845, Edward, born in 1847, and George on a public internet family tree, which is the sole unofficial record of their existence, born in 1853. They might have passed away before the subsequent census was taken. How did the Perrin family figure out that the spirit haunting them was that of Bathsheba Sherman? Ed and Lorraine Warren, who specialize in investigating the paranormal, said that the family might have had a connection to Bathsheba Sherman's ghost. Carolyn Perrin, the mother, informed Ed Lorraine of an incident that had occurred a few years before. She claimed that she was lying on the sofa. She suddenly experienced a sharp ache in her calf, which was followed by a spasm of the muscle. She examined it and saw a pool of blood where it had hit. Her leg had been punctured. She looked for bees or anything else that might have caused it, but couldn't find anything. Andrea Perrin describes the wound as a perfectly concentric circle in her daughter's book, as if a large sewing needle had impaled her skin.